It's that time again. Time to overview Season 2, and once again I'm going to give each episode a one-sentence review and a star rating. The rules are the same, with one exception. This time the color of the stars are my enjoyment of the episode, while the star number is the actual episode's quality. Let's go! The Return of Harmony Part 1 properly introduces the characters to newcomers and reestablishes them to oldcomers, and Discord is a great villain. 5 stars. The Return of Harmony Part 2. Despite its really rushed ending, this half was just as enjoyable as the first. 5 stars. Lesson 0. Twilight goes crazy and I love every second of it. 5 stars. Luna Eclipsed. I would like this episode a lot more if Pinky didn't come off as so mean-spirited and inconsiderate, but a really good moral and humor still make it enjoyable to watch. 4 stars. Sisterhood Social. Wow, you actually did sibling interactions realistically, and amazingly well. 5 stars. The Cutie Box. So much filler. 2 stars. May the best pet win. If the blatantly predictable plot wasn't enough, each character is an asshole by either abusing animals or allowing abuse to happen. 1 star. The Mysterious Mare-Duel. They gave us redundant scenes we didn't need instead of character interaction we did. 1 star. Sweet and Elite. Rarity is still an amazing character and she makes mistakes that she actually learns from. 5 stars. Secret of My Excess. One of the few good Spike episodes, but it brings up very uncomfortable questions that it doesn't want to answer. 4 stars. Family Appreciation Day. The most underrated and forgotten episode in the show, doing wonderful character interactions. 5 stars. Baby Cakes. If Pounded Pumpkin can do all that without even trying, then why did Rainbow and Twilight have to work so hard? 1 star. Hearthwarming Eve. The play was great, but everything outside of it was really out of character. 3 stars. The Last Roundup. A downright hilarious episode with some logical problems and debatable OOC moments. 4 stars. The Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000. So, Granny Smith gambles her livelihood and yet no one stops her. Thank goodness for the humor that's not mean-spirited and the happy ending. 3 stars. Read it and weep. The moral would be great if this was reading his magic, but it's not. Otherwise, a pretty solid episode. 4 stars. Hearts and Hooves Day. The most annoying episode in the show is actually pretty solid. Who knew? 4 stars. A Friend Indeed. After this episode decides to get started, 6 minutes in, it challenges Winter Wrap-Up for the most average episode in the world. And it wins. 3 stars. Putting Your Hoof Down. Unpleasant. 0 stars. It's about time. I think this episode is perfect if it wasn't for the worst ending in the entire show. 4 stars. Dragon Quest. Yes, Spike, you don't have to be a stereotype. Yet if every single other person like you is a stereotype. 1 star. Hurricane Fluttershy. This episode is perfect in its entirety. 5 stars. Ponyville Confidential. Besides the Key to My Chronicles, this is the best CMC episode to date. 5 stars. Mystery on the Friendship Express. If you want to write a mystery, don't forget logic. 1 star. A Canterlot Wedding, both parts. Another good finale to another great season. 5 stars to both parts. So, how'd we do? A-, an improvement. A C is an okay season, a B is a good season, and an A is a great season. And anything above that is an amazing season. So yeah, this was a great season. Hey, we even had one less bad episode than last season, which is confusing. The bad episodes from Season 1 were just a lack of quality or having a shoehorned Twilight. The latter of which was not a problem in this season. That was obviously the biggest difference in Season 2. All the characters were allowed to learn something, which gave the season a different flavor to Season 1. Some people don't like that flavor, but I do, which is probably why this is my favorite of the 3 seasons to date. The other difference was that the EI rating was removed. I don't exactly know what changed, except that the staff is now allowed to inject nightmare fuel into a good number of their episodes. The good episodes hit new highs and were amazingly good, and I wish that I could say that the bad episodes were better as well. They weren't. But to say that they were worse isn't accurate either. The bad episodes were of a different breed of bad. They were definitely more structurally sound, as in they knew what they wanted to do. The problem was with what they were trying to do, meaning that they were harder to take issue with, but if you did take issue with them, they line up as the worst episodes of the show. The Mysterious Mare-Duel wanted to take a shot at Rainbow's ego, and it did it, regardless of what else it killed. Putting Your Hoof Down wanted to make Fluttershy stand up for herself, and it did succeed in that regard. Mystery on the Friendship Express was probably the only exception to this. There's also a more clear explanation of why we had 6 bad episodes. I don't want to be rude or anything, but these two have only had one okay episode between them this season, and that episode had so little to do with anything that it may as well have been fanfiction. The first thing I should say is to Megan McCarthy. Be very careful who you hire as writers. Let's see if her faith in Corey Powell is well placed when I get around to reviewing Sleepless in Ponyville. That's not to say that Charlotte Fullerton and Meriwether Williams are bad writers. After all, they made a career out of it, and they're not politicians or pop stars, so some level of quality is required. But in seriousness, they have had a history. Meriwether Williams wrote for SpongeBob SquarePants, back when it was good. Her name appears in the credits of some of the best episodes of the show, namely Band Geeks and Chocolate with Nuts. I still don't know where this attraction to writing assholes came from, but I know that she is good at this. And with Wonderbolts Academy, she proved that she could do this show well too. In fact, the only time she really pissed me off on her own was with Dragon Quest, which seemed to want to reinforce stereotypes, probably due to a lack of oversight or thought. I suppose all I got to say about her is that she should write her own stories and do her own thing, because both of her collaborations have problems. And the only bad part about Wonderbolts Academy, the ending, was not her fault. And then we have Charlotte Fullerton, my least favorite writer on the show. Believe it or not, she's not my least favorite because she can't write well, it's because she can. Suited for Success is not only a wonderful episode, but it's the staff's favorite episode to date. For every other episode, she seems to not care whether or not characters are in character, or even have a logical reason to be there. But, like every other writer on the show, she is a veteran. Let's see what she's done. Her Wikipedia page states that she wrote the Fun Facts feature on the High School Musical DVD. Okay, let's see what else she's done. One episode of Kim Possible, where there's a villain who turns people into babies. One episode of Fairly Odd Parents about Timmy becoming his father's boss. The only shows I can tell that she spent more than one episode on are the Endless Ben 10 reincarnations. And she's the co-story editor for Omniverse. I suppose I am now obligated to review that at some point. Okay, now I'm just confused. Lauren Faust hired people she had previously worked with. For example, Chris Savino took over the Powerpuff Girls when Craig McCracken moved on to Foster's, and Emmy Larson wrote some episodes of Foster's, under his real name by the way. As far as I can tell, Charlotte Fullerton seems to be relatively new, and since she wrote no episodes of Season 3, she's probably off the show. That's probably why she gave her last episode to someone else. And if you watched my review of that episode, you know how badly I think it turned out. The short version? It added up to the episode I like the least of the entire show. It's not my least favorite, because that would imply that I actually liked it somewhat. I probably hate putting her hoof down because it's a type of bat that I have never encountered before, like ever. Let me explain. The worst episode of most shows would be just as bad no matter what show it would be in. The Splinter would be just as disgusting if it was an MLP. Not All Dogs Go to Heaven would be just as offensive if it was an MLP. However, if you put Putting Your Hoof Down in SpongeBob or Family Guy, it'd still be terrible, but it wouldn't be this cringe-worthy. We have come to know these characters throughout 2.5 seasons, and yes, we've even come to see them as friends. Then we see Fluttershy insulting two of her best friends' reason for living, by telling them that no one gives, and I quote, a flying feather about them. We've seen Rarity's petty passion about fashion. We've seen how Pinky loves to throw parties, and we've seen how letting their friends down not only upsets them, but drives them into depression. Most importantly, we've seen their friendship grow, and the things that they've done for each other. We've seen Pinky come to Fluttershy's defense after Gilda called her, and I quote, a doofus. We've seen Rarity painstakingly make at least 3 gala dresses for Fluttershy for free. Not only does Fluttershy say that their lives are pointless, but she finds absolutely no value in that friendship, and she says it with no hesitation. It's a testament to this show's quality that it could create an insult so powerful, so mean-spirited, and so vindictive. And the better the show gets, the more we learn about these characters, the worse Putting Her Hoof Down gets. In Hurricane Fluttershy, we learn how deeply affected she was by simple taunts. She knows what bullying could do to someone, and she wanted to inflict that level of pain on two of her best friends for the shocking crime of trying to get her to stop beating ponies up. The effect works in reverse too, which is why Hurricane Fluttershy is such the masterpiece it is as well. The more realized each character becomes, the more important each of these episodes are, the more they explain, and the better they get. I must say that Cindy Morrow was amazing this season, writing my 2 favorite episodes of the season, the aforementioned Hurricane Fluttershy and Sisterhood Social. Yes, I like them both more than The Return of Harmony and A Canterlot Wedding. And then there's M.A. Larson. He wasn't exactly on top of the world this season. In Season 1, I gave his episodes a straight 5-star rating across the board. This season, the only 5 stars I gave him was The Return of Harmony. But he wasn't bad, and he did come back to the top of the world in Season 3. And Amy Keating-Rogers hasn't changed in the slightest. And I'm sure that she'll be just as good when she returns in Season 4. At least she'll be better than who we might be getting. I guess the only thing left is to see how Season 3 does without either of them. I'll see you then.